Brandi Passante built a strong, confident image on Storage Wars.
Damn, it is already hot out here. Not as hot as the market is right now.
Brandi, busy, Brandi. Let's lock it up. Where are we gonna go next? Thank you, around 67.5 your way. Woo! Brandi's a fine machine.
But that's not the full story. For years, Brandi Passante became one of the most recognizable faces on the show, known for her sharp instincts and no-nonsense attitude. But away from the cameras, her life has been far more complicated than many fans realize, shaped by challenges and decisions that were never part of the broadcast. So what parts of her story were never shown on television? And how different is her real life from the version viewers think they know? Join us as we uncover the other side of Brandi Passante. The Lover's Rise to Stardom. Everybody knows Brandi Passante as a strong and unyielding woman. She was someone whom anyone could rely on for anything. An influential figure who was made of grit. Even though she would loosen her grip from time to time to deliver sassy remarks, everyone loved her and what she meant to Storage Wars. She was born in Harris County, Texas in 1980 and raised in Orange, California, in a male-dominated household. This circumstance undoubtedly contributed to her ironclad personality and resilience. Personally, she has described this experience as grounded and unglamorous. At 19, she met Jared Schultz in California, and together they built a business from the ground up. They opened a thrift store called Now and Then, buying discarded items and reselling them for profit. Like her childhood, the work was unglamorous. However, the process of finding dirt and upscaling it into everyday items was as unglamorous as it was taxing. And this exact skill was what made them interesting to television producers. In 2010, they were cast on Storage Wars, an A&E competition show where buyers guest bid on the contents of abandoned storage lockers. She and Jared arrived unknown, and within 2 seasons, they became the reason viewers kept watching. She and Jared were the youngest buyers in the cast, and they were quickly dubbed the Young Guns. As the show progressed, she got closer to Jared more than ever before. During the first 12 seasons of Storage Wars, the two were partners in buying, leading to a lot of drama on and off screen. They were knitted so close that even though they were never officially married, most people just assumed they were. At some point, there was even heavy speculation on a proposal being in the works. And that is what they were, just speculations. Jared or Brandi never came out to deny or accept any marriage talks. They simply just let the public guess their relationship's true nature. The end of the Young Guns. So, of course, it came as a surprise to many fans when Brandi announced in the season 13 premiere that she and Jared had already split up. Most of the shock came from the fact that Brandi and Jared had been able to keep their breakup quiet for a while. But regardless of the split, the two of them continued their acts of playful quarrels on air. They did this even a lot more than before, with Jared even jokingly admitting that if Brandi were bidding on something, he was sure to put in a bid as well. Although the split was difficult for the both of them to navigate professionally, Brandi also had to figure out how to deal with having to raise their kids alone. Part of what made Brandi and Jared's split so difficult was the fact that children were involved. The former couple has 2 kids, Peyton and Cameron, who Brandi has full custody of. She noted this in her interview with the Dad Diary. The details of the custody arrangement are not public, but it seems that Brandi shoulders much of the burden. Not only that, but since the breakup, Brandi has actively stopped posting photos of her children on social media after people began to make creepy comments about them. After a session, they decided to meet at a cafe with the kids and spend some quality time together. But this is where everything fell on its head. Just a few minutes after they got together, tension started rising, and they got into a mild back and forth, This back and forth turned into a full-blown argument, and when it was becoming too vulgar, Brandi asked him to leave in order to protect the kids. At this point, she was already standing up, staring down at him and pointing at the exit. This didn't sit well with him in the slightest. He shot up aggressively and pushed her away twice while yelling at her. As it escalated, onlookers were already trying to separate them. Eventually, the cops were called, but by the time they showed up, Jared was gone. When he was eventually confronted, he denied ever laying a hand on Brandi. But the Orange County DA's office charged him with a misdemeanor count of domestic violence battery. This, of course, added strain to not only Jared's relationship with Brandi, but also to his relationship with his children. After this happened, she thought of something which might have served as a foreshadow to their current situation. She remembered when, after a light-hearted argument with Jared, she jokingly went on the show and stated that as a mother, she had two goals: making sure that the college money didn't turn into bail money, and also making sure that Cameron didn't turn out like Jared. Even though the relationship ended on such bad terms, it had its very high moments. Stick to auctioning, Brandi. Storage Wars was an undoubtedly big franchise. This success was as a result of so many things that viewers loved in the show, but ultimately, it was the dynamic between Brandi and her ex-partner Jared that stood at the forefront of it all. The fans loved them, the producers marketed them more than anyone else, and they themselves loved buying items as a pair. Their relationship always featured bickering, the type seen in couples who always loved to poke at each other's backs. While Jared was the playful one who was known to act on impulses, Brandi was more rigid and reserved, usually seen keeping Jared and his impulses in check. There was a time before Brandi and Jared split when they decided to become a little more public with their relationship outside of Storage Wars. They would spend time together, going on dates, finishing tasks, and sometimes even answering fan questions about their relationship on their social media. These actions brought them closer, and with time, their popularity grew. Because fans loved the pair so much, A&E decided to give the couple a spin-off in 2014 called Brandi and Jared, Married to the Job. The show presented a glimpse of them outside of the auction game in their home in Orange County, California. It featured the duo as they juggled staying busy, fulfilling television duties, relationship appearances, raising their kids, Cameron and Peyton, and managing their secondhand store. Ultimately, the show didn't do well enough to warrant any more seasons. After the spin-off's cancellation, the couple just went back to appearing on Storage Wars and continued their buying on that show. The upside to this was that they could finally spend more quality family time, but this time without a camera crew. She continued on Storage Wars for 7 years. Before, unfortunately, she got sick. Fall after fall. While Brandi was raising her children, dealing with her messy split, and navigating fame, she was also dealing with a serious health issue. The issue of her health came up when a fan questioned why her voice was so raspy on social media. Brandi responded by posting the direct message on her Instagram story, explaining that she had Hashimoto's disease. She also posted her medical report from the Mayo Clinic. Hashimoto's disease is an autoimmune disorder that directly impacts the thyroid gland located in the lower neck area. To this day, she still undergoes regular treatment for it. The condition is highly unlikely to be fatal, but since it's incurable, it still weighs on her everyday life. Even though she addressed this issue, she has continued to receive harsh comments and light banter on social media. Some would joke about it, while others would directly put her down because of her voice. Anytime she went live on social media, comments would start rushing in on how ugly and raspy her voice sounded. This would bring tears to her eyes and cause her to end the live stream. Even though she was meant to be used to it, it still hurt as much as a fresh wound. In light of these experiences, Brandi committed to giving back to her community. She would take part in various charity events and support causes aimed at helping those like her in need. Yes, keeping this away from the public would have done her a lot of good, but at the same time, the public's scrutiny could never hold a candle to what she had experienced in the past. Headaches way before the spotlight. Even though many of Brandi Passante's struggles in life took place in recent years, she also faced many hardships before she became famous. On Storage Wars, Brandi is usually up against a tough crowd with her fellow buyers, who are mostly men. But because of the way she grew up, Brandi was used to holding her own. In an interview with Lifetime Moms, Brandi talked about working in a male-dominated industry and how this should have proved difficult for her. She said she approached it with optimism and claims that it forced her to be tough and not be as emotional about the outcome of things. She also talked about already having plenty of practice functioning in toxic, male-dominated areas because of her brothers growing up. She added that her brothers toughened her up, and that although it ultimately helped her career, it was hard for her during her childhood. Now, in more recent events, this learned toughness has been put to the ultimate test. In October of 2020, Brandi's father died, leaving her devastated. In an Instagram post, she talked about how she was a daddy's girl, and fondly remembered how he would never get mad at her. She talked about her father in a very positive light, giving her fans the idea that her relationship with him was very special. The emotional post also alluded to the fact that Brandi lost additional loved ones in that same year. Brandi's daughter, Peyton, was born deaf. This required significant medical intervention, including a major surgery when she was just 6 years old to improve her hearing. Brandi has been open about the challenges of navigating her child's disability, which included years of specialized care and therapy to help Peyton adapt to the treatment. Her son, Cameron, also faced a life-threatening medical situation that involved a mass on his kidney. This was part of a serious urological disorder that required surgery and a painful 3-month hospital stay. In the post, she acknowledged her struggles with raising her sick children and also proceeded to show remembrance for the dead. Although she did not elaborate on who else she lost, it's clear that 2020 was a hard year for her. After this unfortunate turn of events, she decided to take a step back, away from the tentacles of the media, and recuperate a bit. But it was at this exact moment that she got attacked. The fake tape scandal. Ever since she came into the public eye, Brandi has always had details of her personal life reported on. These reports happened regardless of whether she was a hot topic in celebrity discourse or not. But her case was somewhat special. These tabloids, speculative posts, and content baits directed at her got birthed, lived, and then died without ever getting an answer. Especially now that she was on a hiatus, whatever rumors that grew were treated like noise and left to die out. No matter how severe the questions or allegations were, Brandi Passante would rather keep to herself and let the media spiral with whatever story it wanted to cook up. This was a good thing, as it allowed Brandi and her loved ones to maintain privacy and protect peace. But it was only a matter of time before a particular man managed to turn her ideals on their head. Because of her unique blend of fame and exclusivity, she became a hotspot for fraudsters' scams and catfishing. Or, in one particular case, an attempt was made to crush her brand. In 2012, explicit media distributor Hunter Moore posted a nude video on his website and alleged that the woman in the video was Brandi. The news spread like wildfire, and within a few hours, it reached Brandi and her team. Brandi, who would normally ignore people like this, immediately chose to address this attempt at defamation. She claimed she was not the one in the video and sued Hunter for defamation, invasion of privacy, consumer fraud, and more. Initially, Brandi requested $2.5 million as damages, though she ultimately won the case. She was awarded only $750. The judge felt the full amount couldn't be justified, but Hunter also had to pick up Brandi's legal fees. Ultimately, Brandi's image didn't suffer much from this video. However, she still suffered a lot of anxiety and stress from the whole ordeal. It was here that she decided to finally cry out on her failing mental state, her struggles in the limelight. Even though she always tried to appear unshakable and strong, it was almost impossible for one to miss how out of shape she started looking. She missed her usual charm, which made her such a likable character. But luckily, she got booked for an interview at just the right time. And because of this, she was finally able to let off some steam. It was with the Dad Diary, and they wanted to take a deep dive into her struggles so far with fame. In the interview, Brandi started off on how often she receives creepy letters just because she was famous. In these letters, some would threaten to know where she lived, others would send their private parts, and a large percentage just did both. She also said she had to move to a gated community to feel safe. As a result, she felt her whole life shift into a downward spiral. In response to these events, Brandi said she went to therapy to help her work through the stress and anxiety she felt daily. She said that before therapy, it was so bad that she was incapable of leaving her house. She also talked about how Storage Wars was very different from other reality television shows, because the casts were going out and interacting with the public regularly. She also mentioned how this wasn't always a good thing, as some intense fans would just show up to auctions without the intent of participating, and this made her job extremely stressful. She mentioned that all this was just too much at times, and even after she was done with Jared, Brandi worked to keep her relationship with him professional. Brandi also never went into any specifics on the situation involving the domestic abuse case. She never bothered to name her abuser, the reason, or even how it happened to anyone except the authorities. In one of her latest Instagram posts, she shows off her tattoo that reads the word "free" with a bird attached to the end. She jokes that some of her fans might think she got the tattoo for the Lynyrd Skynyrd song called "Free Bird," of which she is a huge fan. However, she clarifies that the tattoo is meaningful. Brandi wrote in the post that somehow, by the grace of God, she managed to escape a very difficult situation that so many people usually fall victim to. She also mentioned that she will be eternally grateful for the newfound life and freedom that allows her to live without fear. Seeing how depleted her state was, a few questions were making rounds on social media on whether she would eventually be able to return to TV. An unconcluded story. The COVID pandemic was tough for everyone in the entertainment industry, and even though views were expected to increase since more people were at home, the filming schedule of Storage Wars got messed up. Because of the failing enterprise, their fans moved to social media or other shows for their entertainment. Industry insiders also speculated that apart from this change in viewership, Brandi's off-camera struggles with love and health made producers hesitant to feature her as prominently. Regardless, she didn't give up on her chance at a reappearance. After a few back and forths against the odds, she finally got recalled and resumed appearing on TV. This time, both on Storage Wars and other shows. Her newfound guest spots on talk shows and reality TV specials also allowed her to share her experiences and insights with a broader audience. These appearances helped keep her visible in the entertainment world and introduced her to new fans. Though Storage Wars withstood the test of time on A&E, the channel took a 2-year break from the show before returning with Season 13 in 2021. This season came into the fray with way more lows than highs, especially for Brandi. Because of their past chemistry, and since the public didn't know about their separation yet, she had to resume filming with her ex, who also returned to the series. But shortly after filming, their divorce scandal got exposed, and the show started receiving backlash for their decision to recast an alleged abuser. Because of this, the show had to go on another hiatus, and right now, the future of Brandi and the show is uncertain, but fans still wait in hopes of another season. Do you think Jared deserves to be boycotted? And what do you think of her story's conclusion? Share your thoughts with us in the comment section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it.